Hello and welcome to Probability and Probability Scales with Cube Education, used for the Edexcel and City and Guilds exam boards. So in this lecture we will look at what probability is. Probability that you will need for functional skills is just based on the likelihood. Hello and welcome to Probability and Probability Scales with Cube Education, used for the Edexcel and City and Guilds exam boards. So we're going to look at what probability actually is today and how to show probability on probability scales. So a couple of things that you need to know then. The probability that you'll need to know for functional skills is just based on the likelihood of something happening. Okay, so I know that's essentially what probability is anyway, but there are lots of different forms of probability, and we'll be kind of concentrating on the types of questions that you will get in these exams. So we're going to use fractions, decimals and percentages to write probability answers as well. So we're just going to go over some fraction, decimal and percentages equivalents to jog our memories, not job our memories. So we have a half. A half is equal to 0.5 and 50%. So these are the ones that you need to learn. A quarter is 0.25 or 25%. 3/4 is 0.75 or 75%. And 1/1 or 1/1 is 100%. So these are the main ones that you're going to need to know, along with a few others like a third, and maybe a fifth and a sixth or even an eighth, but I'm sure we'll come to those in some of the questions, and but these are definitely the ones that you must remember. So let's have a look at an example question then. If I flip a coin, what is the probability that it will be heads? Now there are only two options here, heads and tails. There is only one head on a coin, so the probability of getting a head is 1 out of 2 options, or we can write it as 1/2, 1 out of 2. If I roll an ordinary 6-sided dice, what is the probability of getting a 6? There are 6 options on a 6-sided dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There is only one 6 on the dice, which means the probability of getting a 6 on a dice is 1 out of 6 options, or we can write it as 1/6. Okay, if I roll an ordinary 6-sided dice, what is the probability of getting a number below 3? So there are 6 options on a dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, but we want to know how many options there are below 3. So we can either roll a 1 or a 2, which is below 3, so they are the only 2 options. So the probability of getting a number below 3 is 2 out of 6 options, or we can write it as 2 out of 6. Now we can also cancel this fraction down, which means to simplify it to make it a third. Now if you've not watched the video on fractions, please go ahead and do so. It will just go through with you cancelling down fractions and fractions of amounts and things like that. But if you haven't watched it anyway, all we've done is halved these two numbers. So when we simplify a fraction, we think what numbers can we divide both of these by? 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's what we do when we simplify fractions. But if it's a bit confusing, watch the video. So let's go back to our original question and put it on a probability scale. If I flip a coin, what is the probability it will be heads? Well, we said that we've only got heads and tails, so it means that the probability will be a half, 1 out of 2. So 1 out of 2 can be written as 0.5, and when we have a probability scale, we tend to write it, well, you can write it as fractions, decimals or percentages, but I think it's nice to write it as a decimal or a percentage. Now, we'll look at a scale and it goes from 0 to 1. Okay, so because the probability scale goes from 0 to 1, it means we need to put our decimal answer in there. Okay. Now in the middle of 0 and 1 is a half, so 50p if you like. 0 to a pound, in the middle is 50p or 0.5. Well, luckily that's the answer to our question, so the probability of getting ahead goes right in the centre at 0.5. Let's look at the other one. So we said that if I roll an ordinary six-sided dice, what is the probability of getting a number below 3? Well, there were 6 options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we wanted to know how many options there were below 3. So we can either roll a 1 or a 2, giving us a fraction or a probability of getting a number below 3 is 2 out of 6 options, or 2 over 6, like that. But we cancelled it down to a third, didn't we? So here's our probability scale. Here's 0 and here's 1. We always write the probability scales the same because that's just how they're done. Now then, what you do need to remember is how to write a third as a decimal. Now, I have put the 0.5 in. I do tend to do that on all of my probability scales because it just gives me a good judge of where other numbers are going to be on the scale. And if you do struggle, think of it as 50 pence in the middle, but write it as 0.5. Because I know that if 50 pence is there, then there's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 pence. And it just makes it easier for me to put things on. Okay. Now, a third is written as 0.33 recurring. Okay. And it's kind of like a third of the way up the line. Okay. So like 1, 2, 3. Probably not the best written, but you know what I mean. Okay. So that is the probability of getting a number below 3. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at some actual functional skills questions. Okay, so some of these are from City and Guilds and some are from Edexcel. However, the probability that you need to know is quite similar, so don't worry about that. Okay then, Craig is looking at the results of the learner surveys from 2015 to 2016. The table below shows how many learners from 4 different subject areas completed the survey. Craig needs to know the probability that a learner comes from an English class. Work out the probability that a learner comes from an English class. Well, here is our English class. The number of students from English is 296. Now, when we're writing probability, we need to have whatever they're asking of us as a fraction of the total amount. Okay, so that means we need to add up all the numbers. So it's 296 as a fraction of over, and then I need to add up these. So I'm going to add all of these together. Okay, that gives us 2,150. So that's what goes on the bottom. That is our answer. However, we do need to simplify a little bit. We can't just leave it like that. Let's try and get it simplified. So it looks like I've tried to simplify it, but it's not giving me I'm not going to be able to get a smaller fraction. Okay, so I've put it in the calculator and I've done 296 divided by 2,150, and it gives me 0.1376744 on the calculator. So you could say that that's 0.14 because we can round up, okay, or 13.77% to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's look at another one. Yvonne has a box full of handmade cards. The table below shows how many cards are for different events. Yvonne picks a card out of the box at random. What is the probability that Yvonne picks a Christmas card out of the box? Well, we have 21 Christmas cards. And when we write probability, we need to write the number of whatever they're asking us to write out of, so 21, out of, as a fraction, the total amount. Okay, so we'll add all of those numbers up, giving us 120. Okay, 21 divided by 120 on a calculator, 0.175 or 17.5%. Okay, one more then. Miriam is a courier. Every day she delivers parcels across 4 different counties. The table shows the numbers of parcels he delivered to each county last week. Work out the probability of a parcel having a delivery address in Oxfordshire. Now feel free to pause the video and have a go at this. Okay, and if you did pause it, well done. I hope you did well. Let's go through the answer. So it says the probability of a parcel having a delivery address in Oxfordshire. So here's our Oxfordshire number of parcels, 250. So it's 250 out of, and then we need to add all these totals up, 800. 250 out of 800 can be simplified. We can get rid of the 0 here and the 0 here, which means we have divided by 10. 250 divided by 10 is 25, and 800 divided by 10 is 80. So we can keep simplifying the fraction if we want to. Now, I've continued to simplify and simplify to give us 5 out of 16. So 5 out of 16 as a decimal is 0.3125. So I've done 5 divided by 16 on the calculator. If I didn't want to simplify my fraction until I got down to this, I could have done 250 divided by 800 on the calculator. You would have got exactly the same answer. Okay, or as a percentage, 31.25%. As you probably noticed, the percentages are just 2 decimal points larger. Okay, or two, like 20, 100. It's basically you're timesing by 100. Okay, 2 decimal places higher than the decimal value. Okay, question number 4. Again, pause the video and have a go if you want to. Azra wants to go hiking on a day when it is unlikely to rain. He checks the weather forecast for the next few days. He decides to go hiking on Friday. What is the probability that it will not rain on Friday? Well, the probability that it will rain on Friday is 15%. Probability of rain, Friday, 15%. So, the probability that it won't rain on Friday is 100%, take away 15, which is 85%. And that's your answer for that one. Okay, so, again, pause the video if you'd like to have a go. Zofia keeps packets of crisps in a box in her kitchen. She has 3 packets in the box, 9 plain, 6 prawn, 1 cheese and 8 chicken. She takes 1 packet from the box without looking. What is the probability that she takes a packet of plain crisps? So, there are 9 plain crisps, 9 packets, out of a total of, and then we need to add all of those up, 24. Okay, 9 over 24, you can cancel the fraction down as much as you can by dividing by 3s. It gives us 3 8s. So 9 divided by 24 or 3 divided by 8 on a calculator will give us 0.375 or 37.5%. Okay, so here is a longer City and Guilds exam question now that we've looked at some simple or some, a lot more questions to get you used to the idea behind probability. Let's have a look at a City and Guilds exam question. So, the cosmetics company that produces the hand wash uses money off vouchers to promote new products. This graph shows how many vouchers customers used in the last 8 promotions. Promotion 9 will be for the new hand wash. Extend the trend lines, the lines of best fit, for the different types of voucher. Use your trend lines to predict how many paper vouchers will be used and how many online vouchers will be used in promotion 9. So already that's a lot of information, and it's not really a probability question yet. So first of all, I'm going to extend each line as straight as I can. Okay, now obviously you have this on paper and use a ruler. Alright, so I've extended them as best I can, and then it says paper vouchers, okay, which are the circles for promotion 9, and I'm going to go up to here. Oops. Okay, I'm going to go up from promotion 9 up to my line. Now it's near enough 1,000, maybe 1,100, but I've gone for 1,000. Okay, it will give you a bit of leeway, and to be honest, I think I have gone a little bit up with my line rather than gone as straight as possible. And then for the online vouchers for promotion 9, I'm going to go up, and it looks about 4,000 to me. Okay, so 1,000 there and 4,000 there. Now let's have a look at the actual probability question. The company sends out 100,000 paper vouchers for every campaign. Work out the probability that a person who receives a paper voucher for promotion 9 will use it. So, you can see here that there's 1,000 paper vouchers out of 4,000 online vouchers. Okay, 1,000 paper vouchers are going to be used. So a company sends out 100,000 paper vouchers, but according to our chart, only 1,000 people will use them. So that is 1,000 used vouchers out of 100,000 vouchers sent out in total. Now I'm going to simplify this fraction just to make it look a little bit easier to use. And the beauty of having a fraction with lots of zeros is I can just take off 3 from the top and 3 from the bottom. If I had 4 on the top, I could take off 4 on the bottom, but I don't. So if I get rid of those 3 and I get rid of those 3, it gives me 1 out of 100. Well, that's like saying 1 penny out of 100 pounds. And that means 1%, because 1% means 1 out of 100. So we know that 1% is our probability, okay? Or 1% can also be written as 0.01, just like 2% would be 0.02, and so on. So, in our probability scale then, I'm going to write my 0, my 1, and my 0.5. My 0.5 goes directly in the middle. 1% is written as 0.01 and not 0.1. So this is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. This is not 0.1, this is 0.01, okay, which will go very, very close to the edge of the probability scale. It's very small, okay? It's less than a penny. Small. All right, so I hope you get that, you understand that. Let's have a look at another City and Guilds question. You attend a gym to work on your fitness and improve your running times. Each month, the gym gives away one free gift to the first 8 members who attend 10 sessions. The free gift is chosen at random by a computer. This month, you are the first member to attend 10 sessions. What is the chance that your free gift will be a sports bottle? Work out this probability. Show your result on the probability line. So what we need to do is have a look first at how many there are altogether. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 options, and it wants the probability that you will receive a sports bottle. Now there's 1, 2, 3 sports bottles. So 3 sports bottles, 8 options altogether. It's 3 out of 8. Now 3 out of 8, if I didn't know what that was as a decimal, I could just do 3 divided by 8 on a calculator. 0.375. Okay? Or 37.5%. On my probability scale, so my probability will go there as a percentage, or you could have written it as a fraction or a decimal, doesn't matter. And then my probability scale will be 0, 0.5, 1, and then my 0.375. Now, I know that this is 0.5, so this would be 0.4, 0.3, so 0.375 must go somewhere about there. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be around about. Okay, so finally then we're going to look at an Edexcel question. The Edexcel ones sometimes throw in a bit of a curveball, so that's the question I've chosen. Dan throws 2 fair dice. The numbers on dice A are 1, -2, 3, -4, 5, -6. The numbers on dice B are -1, 2, -3, 4, -5, and 6. The table shows some total scores from throwing the 2 dice. Complete the table. Now, as you can see, they are adding the numbers together. They've got the numbers from dice A and the numbers from dice B. And if they're adding them together, I've got to do -1 plus 5, because that's the one that's missing. -1 plus 5 is 4. 2 plus -2 is 0. 2 plus -6 is -4. -3 plus 3, -3 plus 5, -3 plus -6. Okay, I'm just going to fill in the rest of the table, but that's basically what's happening. If you're struggling with negative number, there is a video on that as well, how to add, subtract, multiply and divide negative numbers, so please make sure you check that out. So now we've completed the table. It says Dan throws the 2 dice once. What is the probability that the total score is -11? So what we need to do is, first of all, find all of the -11s. Okay, now there is only one of them, which is -11. Nothing else in here is -11. And then we just need to know how many there are in total. Well, there are 6 on one dice and 6 on the other. So 6 times 6 is 36. So there's a total of 36. and only one option for -11. So it's 1 out of 36. Then it says, Dan throws the 2 dice again. What is the probability that the new total score is 0? So now I'm just going to find all the zeros. 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 out of 36 zeros. So that would be our fraction. But we can cancel this down. Okay, 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 36 divided by 6 is 6. So that is our simplified fraction. Okay. All right. So one more for the Edexcel exam, and then I think we're almost finished. So I do apologise. It is a longer lecture than I realised. Oscar is organising a show. Visitors to the show choose their seats at random. There are 350 seats available. These seats are numbered from 1 to 350. Oscar places a prize under each of the seats numbered 17 to 25. What is the probability that the first visitor chooses a seat with a prize? So we have 350 seats, and the seats numbered 17 to 25 are the seats that you could win a prize on. So 17 to 25, so if I do like 17, 18, 19, 20, that's 9 seats with a prize, okay? So we could have done 25, take away 17, but I wanted to make sure you included 17 and 25. So make sure you include 17 and 25. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 makes 9 seats with a prize. So that's 9 out of 350, okay? You don't need to simplify it really. It doesn't ask you to simplify it. It's just asking for the probability. Okay, and yeah. Okay, the probability that a visitor buys a soft drink at the show is 3/4. Which of these describes this probability? Now 3/4 is like 3 out of 4. So it's not a half, it's not an even chance, okay? And it's quite a high fraction. It's like eating 3 slices out of 4 of pizza. You've ate most of it. It is not certain because it's not a definite chance. It's not a 1 whole 1. It is just going to be likely. Okay, even chance is a half. Okay, it's not certain because that would be 1, so it must be likely. Okay, so a quick summary of the lesson then. We've gone through the basics of probability, and this lesson will ensure that you will be able to answer probability questions in your functional skills exams. This lesson will help you with the City and Guilds Functional Skills Maths exam, as well as the educational Edexcel Functional Skills Maths exam. So I hope you've enjoyed it and you've learned a lot. Well done, and thank you very much for using Cubit Education. I'll see you next time.